Very good. Senator Lee, thank you very much as well for your personal story and what you're contributing today, Representative Sanchez. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to both of you for being here. I, too, am pro-immigrant. I'm pro-immigration reform. We're a nation of immigrants. I hope we always will be. And I agree that we need to make it possible for people to come into this country through the front door. I want to start with you, Mr. Norquist, and follow up on a statement you made a few minutes ago dealing with the fact that one of the reasons why we've got 11 million or so immigrants in an illegal status today has to do with the fact that we've had a legal immigration system that doesn't function properly. It doesn't operate in such a way that allows our immigration system to keep pace with economic realities, with the demand of our economy. So one question I have for you is, in your opinion, does the Gang of Eight proposal deal with this adequately? So separate and apart from the fact that it would take those currently here illegally and put them on a path to citizenship, eventually, if it doesn't also deal with the inadequacy of the current visa system, eventually that problem is going to creep up and we'll have more illegal immigration. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you need to do something about future flows as well as past flows and status. And I think,
does this deal with that adequately, in your opinion?
In my view, no. I think it should be. I think both the H-1B numbers should be more robust. The total number of immigration should be more robust. The guest worker program should be more robust. Is this progress as opposed to? Look, I'm all in favor of compromising towards liberty and progress. This is a step in the right direction. Is it a step enough in the right direction? I think it could go further. But the world is a better place if that bill, unamended, passed than if it doesn't pass. Can it be a better bill with better results in the future? Sure, absolutely. That's what the amendment process is for.
Okay. But eventually you think additional adjustments would be necessary in terms of opening up visas, more visas, both in high-skilled and in non-high-skilled areas.
It may be that can only happen sufficiently after people have seen the success of 1.0 on immigration reform. But that is the direction that history suggests we need to go in.
Okay. Dr. Kugler, I'd like to refer to a statement that was made in the New York Times on March 17th of this year. The Times reported, and as a side benefit, waiting a decade would mean that the costs of the overhaul would not kick in until the second decade because illegal immigrants do not qualify for government benefits until after they earn green cards. That means the 10-year cost estimates by the Congressional Budget Office would not include the expense of those benefits. So the question I have for you is, how meaningful are the CBO cost estimates that we have? If they're based on projections that use a 10-year window, and the projected costs of the bill take those estimates outside the 10-year window because they hold off for more than 10 years, the moment when there might be some direct entitlement and welfare implications of the bill. Do you understand the question?
Certainly. Yes. Yes, so I understand what you're saying. So we have the 10-year window, and in 13 years you have access to naturalization and citizenship. And you're right that then you won't be entitled to many of those transfer programs, many of those benefit programs. But by the same token, it is true that we know that there is about a 10% gain just moving from legal status to citizenship, and that's not taking account of that. So it works on both ends, actually. You're right that there is that issue about the cost side of things, but on the benefit side, there are other things that immigrants won't be qualified for, right? And including some of access to more entrepreneurship, to loans, to other things that may also contribute in a dynamic sense.
And so do you think it's a wash then when you take those things into account? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that leads into my next question, which is for Mr. Norquist, related to the wash point. In his testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee on April 19th of this year, Douglas Holtz-Eakin noted that the 2007 immigration bill had a cost of $18 billion over a decade. stating that such an amount would be swamped, quote unquote, by other changes, and he dismissed it more or less as a budgetary wash. Do you think members of Congress, members of the Senate or of the House, whether they call themselves conservatives or not, do you think they should think of $18 billion as a budgetary wash?
Well, $18 billion is a significant number. So is $2.7 trillion, which is his estimate of increased revenue over the additional spending from a reform that looks like the one we're looking at now. So all costs are costs. In this situation, as Holtz-Eakin points out, the growth of the economy and the benefits you get from something like the Senate plan is much greater.
And could you support it if you became convinced that the net cost was greater, that there was a net cost and that net cost wasn't offset somewhere else?
Well, first of all, the bill has no tax, the Senate bill that one can look at and read, there may be other people's ideas, has no tax increases in it. There are fines for people who cross the border illegally.
I'm just talking about outlays, if it would result in more outlays.
I'm focused on making sure taxes don't go up and that total government spending as a percent of GDP goes down. And spending as a percent of GDP would fall by any way you analyze the kind of reform that the Senate's doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, spending goes up every year. Does it go up faster than the economy is the question of how damaging it is.
Okay. Our chair has been very patient with me. My time's expired. Thank you very much.
Okay, I just